Welcome back, everyone, to Curse of Strahd, Session 10. Last week, we got ourselves encouraged to leave town and find new ways to do what we want. And I forgot to change this all back.
Nowhere to look. Nowhere to look.
It's fine.
Hi.
Alright, so to start, we have Nanaha, played by Lumi-chan. She is the Team Heart. Nanaha is...
a Sun Soul monk who uses her emotions to go on the attack. She is human, she is weird, and she is now wondering, are we the bad guys?
Saya is played by me. She is not worried about us being the bad guys. That's not a concern. Next we have Raz, played by Ms. Eggis. Raz is...
a Shadarkaya barbarian who's pretty sure they are the bad guys and is pretty okay with it.
Next we have our own personal Neum, Pocket, of Pockets Full of Gold is his full name, right? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Played by Desanay. Pocket, while being the favorite, is also...
a phantom rogue who is clear that he is the hero.
Next we have the Team Mom, who is incredibly disappointed in us right now. Verity, played by the one and only Mr. Pounce. Verity is...
Convinced we're not going to make it out of here alive, but also a divine soul sorcerer. Yeah. I pray. Was that better? I practiced this week.
Nice. Next we have Axel, soon to be the only holy man left in Barovia, played by Lennon Marks. Axel is...
Axel is a devotion paladin who is briefly considering that he's the bad guy, but no, it's the kids that are out of touch.
And finally, we have GM extraordinaire Fluffy Snowfall, here to take us on an adventure in Barovia. And I am passing the buck off to her now.
Okay, hi. I am Fluffy, and I can attest they are the bad guys.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Love you. So, last time, the party found themselves having a bit of a good morning until they realized that during the night, Pocket went on a little bit of an adventure and decided now was the best time to go help his new BFF Strahd von Zarovich. Some antics ensued, and people were chased out of the church by swarms of bats. And the priest, Father Lucian, became a midnight juice box for the vampire.
Ew.
The rest of you went about your day and headed to the Festival of the Blazing Sun, where you were, at the time, honored guests. The festival happened, that's for sure. And at the end, when Burgomaster Baron Vargas Valakovich lit the giant wicker sphere, it just so happened to rain, dousing everybody and putting out the torch. A militiaman had the audacity to not stifle a laugh and was sentenced to imminent death by dragging until the party intervened and made themselves enemies of the village. And due to some quick hostage negotiations from Raz, the party was sent on their way, told to leave, and never return. And we ended the session with everybody being escorted out of the village.
Zip Pocket.
Except Pocket. Because Pocket somehow didn't get noticed despite being 7 feet tall and having a porcelain dandyman's face.
I'm sorry, friend. You must have me confused for someone else.
Tick, tick, tick,
Rogues,
tick,
man.
tick, tick, tick.
And we will reconvene there. Pocket, you had run back to the inn, correct?
Yep, just gonna alert Erwin as to what happened, and the twins. And the only other thing that I care to do is let Erwin, or ask Erwin if there's a way to get out to them without being seen.
He looks at you. Well, you have a very easy way of getting out of the village without being seen, friend.
Yeah, but I need all of my stuff.
We will take care of that. Meet us, which entrance were were your friends sent to?
North? Towards the lake?
Alright, we will bring your supplies. I'm sorry it come to this. Please be careful, as they've already started putting up posters for your group. So, I imagine that, some enterprising fools might wish to collect on a bounty.
Got it. I'll run up to my room, open the window, wait 5-10 minutes, transform and fly out, and then go to them.
Alright. A little while later, all of you are kind of sitting outside of the northern side of the village. The lake in front of you is pretty crystal clear and a deep, deep blue. There is there's a cold breeze blowing off of the lake, giving you all a bit of a chill, especially as you have been freshly soaked through. Eventually, you see a horse and carriage being basically prodded out of the gate, and the doors slammed shut once again.
Thank you.
Sorry!
Axel just makes sure that everything's in the wagon and the horse is okay, and just, yeah, everything's on the up and up with this bit, and then keep waiting for Pocket.
You seem to have everything there, except something is a bit out of place. There is a small leather pouch sitting that nobody seems to have claimed from inventory.
I pick it up and see what it is.
There is a small pile of gold coins inside, and a hastily scribbled parchment that just says "thanks."
Someone seems to like us at least.
Is there a name, or it literally just says thanks?
It just says "thanks."
How much gold is there?
15 gold pieces.
For here, that's not bad.
Every single coin is stamped with the visage of Strahd on the side of it. The coins themselves look very, very old, and the edges are very worn down from time of being handed back and forth.
Okay. Well, I take that and put it in my purse for safekeeping for the time being, but tell the group, like, hey, we got some funds from somewhere.
Yay, party funds. Anybody seen Pocket?
I saw him as we were getting run out of the city. I think if he got my meaning, I think he went to make sure the horse was okay and get the siblings.
I hope you got this.
I'm concerned that we haven't seen the siblings, though.
A little while later, you see a small black bird flying over the gate and just kind of perching, I assume on Axel's shoulder.
Exactly.
Pocket?
Just let out a long ass call.
Did where are Irina and Ismark?
Not really being able to speak in the form and learning from previous lessons, fly off his shoulder, transform.
Once
And-
again, naked cat.
Once again, Nanaha's cloak is thrown at him.
Axel's probably seen everything more than once. But, well, I flew back to the inn, just really left messages and came out because I didn't know if you guys were going to just head out to the lake or not.
Well, they were at the festival, so they did see what happened.
We should probably decide what we're going to do now.
Yes.
True.
That does remind me. While everyone was running about this morning prior to the festival, I was speaking with Isaac at the bar, and he made reference that there was a cave to the west that used to be home to a dragon, that many adventurers had previously gone there in an attempt to seek their fortune.
I think you mean Erwin, not Isaac.
Sorry.
There's so many I names.
But it did remind me that Madame Ava did reference a place where a dragon was or used to be in our reading. So I thought I'd let you know.
We could also still visit the winery and make friends with the last remaining city to see if we get thrown out of there.
There is also the windmill that you remember passing that you currently have the deed for as well.
Our dinner invitation was also possibly work-related. I imagine if they're looking for people like us to do work, then they can't get it done with the people available in town. They might still be willing to work with us.
Guaranteed it's a monster in the basement.
Everything's a monster in the basement.
There was the big house with the monsters in the basement. We finally get to the first town, and there's a church with a monster in the basement. We get to the next town, and there's monsters on the second floor. And in the inn, well, I met the monster in the basement, but he's a nice guy. Strahd is probably the monster in his own basement. All I'm saying is, it's a running theme.
Was there also not reference to a small lake nearby that had the tower that we were discussing as well?
Yes, to the west of here is Lake Baratok, and there is a tower overlooking it.
Wasn't there also like some ruins on this lake? If I recall correctly.
On this lake, there was talk of a wizard who appeared about a yearish ago.
So we have a large number of options presented to us, even including the fact that we've been kicked out of Grumpy Bill.
I think first order business immediately needs to be secure the siblings.
True.
Can we secure an outfit for Pocket first?
Well, my clothes are supposed to be being brought out to me at some point.
At about this point, you see a few black birds flying, and there's like a bundle tied between them.
Special delivery.
Mm-hmm.
That's for me!
They drop the satchel kind of in between the party and start flying off.
I'll just wave, even if they can't see me. And then get dressed.
A little while longer, you see You see someone walking outside of the north gate. It's about 2 hours after you guys were kicked out. Because I imagine you all had business, all trying to figure things out. You see the visage of Irina, and she kind of is like stepping outside of the gate and walking away from guard sight. Hi, everyone.
Oh, thank goodness. We were worried that you weren't going to make it out.
Well, you certainly left things in quite a chaotic situation, that is for sure. Ismark said he is going to try to stay behind and smooth things over in case we need to come back. And he said that it would probably be safer for me to go on with you all if you would still be interested in escorting me.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I have a feeling we will be back at some point as well. But in the meantime, well, now that you're here, we can actually discuss this. So where are we going? So we'd been discussing, so we can either hit there's the tower to the west, the dragon's lair to the west. We'll fill you in on that if we go that way. Or we can head over to the vineyard and try to get Irina to Kresk and then circle back.
Probably safest to take her to Kresk first.
Well, if we can't get her into Kresk, then we're just wasting time. I'm thinking the vineyard would be the safest.
Well, the vineyard is required to get her into Kresk. Like, that's what I mean, is that should probably
be our first.
Sorry,
I thought you were trying to go around the vineyard. My apologies.
Sadly, I can't Misty Step her inside of the walls of Kresk.
That'd be cool, though.
That would be kind of cool.
It is a fairly useful skill.
Well, whatever you all feel most comfortable doing, I would be fine accompanying you.
Well, if your brother's trying to smooth things over for us, we probably owe you both getting you into Kresk as quickly as possible.
You're really muffled, Nev.
I don't know why.
I blame the mist.
Agreed.
But yes, if you're going to join us, we should probably continue on with this one task we have prior to running around on the word of a potentially mad woman.
No, that makes a lot of sense, to be honest. I basically have everything I need right now. Do we need to get any supplies since we were basically kicked out?
I think we have water and food for a couple days' travel if needed. After that, might be a little tricky, but hopefully we can pick some stuff up at the vineyard.
Well, I did manage to get a little. And I'll just show Axel the bag of the 50-foot rope, the 4 torches, and the 4 bottles of holy water. That's all I managed to get for us. I don't know how much of it is useful.
I imagine the holy water is going to have a lot of use around here somewhere. That's all right. We've got... If we all pool up our trail rations, I know it's not the best food, but we can at least eat.
That makes sense. Alright, well. We've got about a half a day to get there before it starts getting dark. Hopefully we will be able to do so.
At least we still have our horse.
Yes, that is very good, very true.
Is Fluffy, real quick. I know in like the character portrait, Irina is wearing armor. Does she have like a sword on her belt or something? Or a weapon of some kind?
She does, actually.
Okay.
She does have a sword.
So turning to her real quick, so without your brother here to answer for you, how are you with that sword?
I mean, I'm not, I won't be winning any awards for swordsmanship, but, she kind of pulls it out, and as you see it, it's more akin to a rapier. She kind of makes a few swishing motions and lunges with it. Her form's pretty solid. It's basic, but it's solid.
Hopefully it doesn't come to that, but good to know.
And so she sheaths it. I mean, I have a few tricks now and again, but I can hold my own, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Excellent. This is great news.
So I do have a question before we get to the next town.
Yes?
Not for you, Irina. I'll turn to the group. Who the fuck are we actually supposed to be helping? Because I tried the not intervening route with the kid in the cart in the first town, and you guys are like, no, we gotta get involved. So we got involved. Now we get here, and I'm thinking you guys don't want to get involved, or rather that we do want to get involved. So there's a kid in the stocks getting bullied, and I get involved. Then you say, no, we're not getting involved. And then there's this guy in town who's a fully grown fucking adult who decides he's gonna get involved, and then we decide, fuck it, let's get involved. What are we even doing?
I mean, I'd like to point out that Axel's the one who couldn't let it go for the guard
I only
in town.
made comments. I didn't try to get involved at first.
Saya and I only got involved when we were told to be arrested for not just knowing you guys. Axel, would you like to explain why a guard of Velaki is worth more than a small child?
Contextual risk management. The Oh, you mean the kid that was being kidnapped by the... Wait, do you mean the kid in the stocks or the kid that was kidnapped by the hag?
And Raz just laughs.
Exactly. But...
Well, we saved the kid that was kidnapped by the hag. That didn't take much convincing for anyone.
But it was more so that I thought we're in a new place, and it may be new rules, because I've seen you humans murder each other in droves for land. I figured, hey, if this one's just going to take children in a bag, fuck it. I don't care. But no, we decided we want to save this kid. So then I tried to save the next kid. But no, we're not saving that kid. Now, but we saved the adult. I just want to make sure that I don't make more mistakes.
The next kid we were going to save, I was just going to wait until it was dark out to try to get the kid away.
So, if I may explain, I don't necessarily expect you to accept this pocket, but the kid that was locked in the stocks, given that there was Ezek and guards and broad daylight and a bunch of people, the only way that we were going to get them out would be to fight the whole city. That seemed unwise. Granted, we kind of ended up doing that anyways, but the people in the stocks also weren't in immediate danger of death. And if they got roughed up a little bit, we could at least spring them at night, as Nanaha suggested, or as you certainly are capable. The guard that was going to be dragged to death was going to be dragged to death right there. So it was either intervene or watch him die for my own mistakes. I couldn't do that. I understand the outcome was not great for us, and I'm terribly sorry. But we're going to... Or at least, I hope to come back here, and I hope to set all this right.
And here, I thought our goal was to escape Barovia, not inflict change on the political landscape.
Here's the thing, though. If you can't escape where you are, you should at least make where you are better, so in case you're stuck with it, you're not just going, oh, darn it, I can't stand this, kind of thing,
That sounds like rationalization for failing.
Failure is always an option. It's not a nice one, but it is an option.
I'm used to failure. It's just a lot of learned lessons.
Well, we
But I
certainly
trust you,
learned one
Axel.
here.
Are you actually still the hero?
I mean, we're all the heroes in our own story, right?
I think
Insight check. No.
I do believe Axel is regarded as something of a local folk hero by the town based on the reaction earlier, and now this.
If nothing else, if we needed to sway the town, I think Axel's presence would be in our favor.
So we kill the burgomaster and make Axel the new leader, and we have our own town.
That seems...
Possibly.
This is something we should probably discuss on the road.
Yes, we are
Not near the
burning.
wall.
We are burning daylight as well, or what passes for daylight here. So to the vineyard?
To the vineyard.
It seems to be the next port of call.
Saya
I guess
is going
so.
to mutter to Raz, for what it's worth, I am totally fine with having our own town.
I am also fine going to a vineyard where there's hopefully good wine.
Raz responds to Saya, and outside of your reprimanding methods, you and I tend to see eye to eye on a great many things.
Yeah, we learned a couple things about each other. Neither of us like things. I don't like to be touched. You don't like to be spritzed. We'll work it out.
All right, then are you on your way out then?
I am.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. You begin to take to the road, kind of the dusty, muddy road heading to the west. You know what? As you're passing by the lake, I would like all of you to roll me a perception check, please.
God, here we go again.
Nana is distracted by the thought of wine, I think.
Sorry, I didn't have my character sheet open for some dumb reason.
That's fine. Axel, Roz, and Nevia, you see... Raxel, Roz, and Saya, you see a waterlogged burlap sack that has washed up on the shore of the lake.
Does it maybe resemble the thing I saw getting shoved into the lake when we arrived?
Yes.
Oh, I think that's what they tossed into the lake when we arrived here.
The
I'm actually going to approach it. I want to know what they're tossing in.
yeah.
You know that is the lake where the giant bite or the fast bitey guy jumped into, right?
You
Like,
know I
that's-
can breathe underwater, right?
I'll stay back here. You can go. That's okay.
Saya, as you approach the lake, you see, up close, the sack is actually rather large. Probably could fit a whole lot of supplies and whatnot in there.
Alright, I'm going to take my dagger that is used for basically just cutting things open. To open the sack. If I can avoid damaging the sack itself, I'd like to. Like if there's rope tying it shut.
There's rope tied around, yeah. You
Yeah,
could cut the rope.
I'll cut the rope to open it up.
Inside, you see what looks to be just a massive, wad of hair, and then you kind of pull the sack over, and you see pallid, grayed, long since dead skin. Eventually, you pull the thing out of the sack, and you find a waterlogged corpse of what looks to be a 6-year-old girl.
This place just
Step
gets
away from that, Saya.
darker and darker. Yeah, she's gonna step away, as she's saying that, but this place is getting darker and darker.
Roz will approach and check to see if the gray-skinned girl has fangs.
You lift kind of the stiff skin around the lips. It's a little puffy from being in the water. No, her fangs are her teeth are normal.
Great.
At the at the funeral, one of the men mentioned that one of the dead at the church was a shipmaker, but that nobody was fishing anymore due to the bad conditions on the lake except for one guy, and that guy was kind of a weirdo.
Yet another thing to pay attention to when we come back.
Saya, you mentioned that you saw this thing get dumped in?
Probably. When we first arrived, I saw somebody out on the lake and dumped something over the side that looked like this.
Do you recall what he looked like?
Was I able to see that?
You weren't able to get a very good look at the individual that was there. Seemed to be some sort of villager, kind of seemed very... I'm trying to figure out the best way to describe how you would have seen it from that distance. Just kind of a very, like, large, not like Izek large, but like, you know, kind of rounder individual. Seemed to be a man of some sort. That was really about the extent you could get.
Looked like a heavier man. Can't really say that much for certain, being out in the lake and all.
Well, what do we want to do with her?
We could bury her.
That would be the proper thing.
I'd be down with burying the poor kid.
And Raz will pull out his shovel and hit it up away from the edge of the water a bit so that when he digs a hole, it doesn't get down into the water line.
Something also to be of note. The little girl, she is wearing rather good attire for what you've seen in Barovia, and there's actually quite a brilliant display of golds and purples and yellows in her clothing.
You'd think a kid of this high standing would be noticed to be missing, right?
Have we met anyone of high standing here other than... I mean, even the burgomasters live in relative squalor. No offense, Irina.
She kind of shrugs. None taken. She just kind of looks. Maybe she was Vistani. These clothes seem to match those of who I've usually seen coming in. I've never met this girl, though, but...
Perhaps we can ask if they've had a girl missing the next time we see.
Are there any, like, crests or anything? Like, you said they're fancy clothes, but are there any, like, identifying symbols or anything?
Nothing very, like, obvious. It's just there's a lot of bright colors.
Raz, before you bury her, can you cut off, like, a little square of fabric from her dress? We can maybe use it to identify where she came from.
Oh, what color is her hair?
Black.
Here we go.
Does anyone have skill with illusions?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
So he will cut off a small patch so that it has a bit of the gold trim as well as the purple, like to give like the best. This is the colors that she was seen in, kind of thing.
This entire time you've seen Irina's had kind of just a small journal style book of parchment, and she's been scribbling away as you've been talking.
Notes. That would also probably help.
Or a drawing of the girl.
Ooh, are you an artist?
She turns the book around, and it's a pretty passable drawing of the girl. It's nothing that you would say I'm going to hang above my mantle in my castle, but for an individual, it's actually pretty good.
Verity is secretly desperately trying to hide her disappointment that Irina was not taking notes and was drawing.
There are actually some notes in the bottom corner as well for like descriptive features.
Muted hope yet remains.
Well, with that good drawing, and with Verity's high attention to detail and notes, I'm sure we'll be able to give an accurate description.
Yes. Well. All right. I will help put together the grave for her. It's the least we can do before we leave.
Agreed.
Once we're done burying her, Raz will turn to Axel. You want to say a few words, Padre?
Of course, friend. And I go say some like final rites over the grave.
All right. You've been getting a lot more practice with your eulogies, and you do a pretty good job of kind of going over and just saying some brief words about this girl you've never met. Whatever brief hope lingers just from the feeling of putting her spirit to rest, you think you've done all that you can and begin to prepare yourself for gathering everything and heading back out onto the road.
Okay, to the vineyard for real this time.
Onward.
All right, and so you begin to head down the road. The further you get away from the lake, the temperature begins to start warming up a little bit. Where right on the lake shore it was very, very cold and frigid. It's wet, it's damp, but it's starting to be a little more comfortable. And you begin heading through as like you see the further you get away, the more wild and grown the trees tend to be. As you're passing by, you see, you're heading over this bridge. You find yourself at a crossroads. The roads themselves come to a bit of an X intersection. You see it branches off to the northwest. It branches off northeast back where you came from, down to the southeast and the southwest. You see a wooden signpost thrusting upward in an angle near the eastern intersection, and you see the other half of the sign kind of just lying on the ground next to the signpost.
What does the signpost read?
You kind of connecting the two broken pieces together. The arms point to Kresk and the Solenka Pass down to the southwest, and Lake Baratok to the northwest. It points towards to the where you came from. It points and says Valakai and Ravenloft. And then there is a southwest pointing part of the sign that says Berez. And the font for Berez is very worn and like almost scratched off.
Do you know which direction leads to the vineyard?
Didn't they say it was something of like in the southwest?
Alrighty. Turns the horse that way.
Alright. You take the main part of the road. You see kind of where it branched off before. Like the northeastern passage was a little more unworked. It was very dusty and like you could just basically tell it was people trampling over it for years that made it sort of an extension of it. Doot. You continue. Wow, I can't speak today. You continue your way south through the woods. The area here is a bit darker as the trees loom overhead, kind of blocking out the filtered light. You see kind of, you hear some howling out in the woods and the sounds of things deeper in moving around. Nothing seems to be coming out to bother you right now, however. Is there anything you wish to talk about on your walk through or on your ride through the woods?
Not to talk about, but I will take the 4 bottles of holy water, give one to Irina, one to Roz, and keep 2 for myself.
Okay.
Not going to give one to the actual holy man in the party?
Can't you create
No, because
your
he's
own?
holy.
I'm not so familiar with the purpose of these. What do I do with them?
Turn to Axel.
Well, if you find yourself face to face with a vampire, if you gently sprinkle it on him, it might annoy him a little bit.
Would it
Like
serve
when
as
you
a
spray
weapon
pocket.
coating?
You could also throw the entire thing in their face, and that might actually hurt them.
So it's like an alchemist fire, not a weapon poison or anything like that.
No, it is water that has been blessed by a holy man. There are some sorts of monstrosities in the area that are repelled by such things.
I still feel that we should bless Saya and she can just spray everything. Are we sure this does not work?
That'd be really
She's
cool
just
if it
gonna
would.
laugh.
Saya, can you control holy water?
It's water. So
I would say yes. I'm sure the holy particles are dissolved in the water.
Maybe we should give this to
Holy
Saya.
particles.
I will give her I'll give Saya 1 bottle of holy water.
she'll look it over and then tuck it in her pouch.
But yeah, in case of emergency, break over an undead or fiendish enemy, and they won't like it too much.
Okay. Good to know. I was about ready to coat my weapon in it in hopes that it would mean that I could actually hurt the things we fight.
I mean, only a complete tool blesses their golf club, right?
What is a golf club?
Never
Okay.
mind.
Verity looks mildly insulted at her like magic pen or quill.
Something you notice as you go deeper and deeper into the woods. It seems, at first, you all have kind of a feeling of being watched, and your eyes kind of dart along the tree line as a bit of wind kind of blows through, rattling the trees. A bit of this, even though it's a little hard to see, a bit of black catches your eye as you see perched on one of the tree branches is a small black raven that seems to be watching you. And when you get out of its vision range, it flies to a next tree branch and continues watching.
I'll
Friend of yours
wave.
pocket?
Oh,
Unless
I'm
we're
not
trying to be
entirely
good.
sure. I mean, in that there are also just a lot of ravens here, but also it would make sense that they're keeping tabs on us.
You could go ask.
Ravens
Or
don't exactly speak.
You speak. You call at us all the time when you're in your raven form.
All right, God. Not. What? Shut up, Ross.
Pretty sure God has nothing to do with it.
But I'll like wave at the raven, like let him know that I'm coming, but leave my stuff in the cart, transform, and fly towards the raven. Just see if I spook it or if the raven just like totally chill with it.
It seems to be totally chill with it. It just kind of like tilts its head at you.
Let loose a caw. Actually, while I'm doing this, might as well. He's paying attention to the group. I'll fly up and kind of just get a lay of the land around.
All right. As you're flying around, you do see a couple of things. Off in the distance, you see the silhouette of a rather tall-looking tower sitting in the middle of a small lake. The tower itself seems to be very rickety and old, but it is a landmark that sticks out. Down here, you see kind of in a clearing that was made a bit of what seems to be some sort of old mansion. It seems long since abandoned. And there's a lot of mist kind of swallowing it up, but you are able to see it. Way down, very far south, you see this large mountain piercing out of the thick veil of fog, kind of looming overhead. And the last thing you see of note is here, to the west, you see a clearing of the woods, and there seems to be a building of some sort there.
Got it. And since the only thing that we were headed towards in the east is the vineyard, is that the vineyard? Am I looking at what is essentially rows of either grapes or some other small berry or fruit?
Unfortunately, it's kind of hard to see the fine details since there is a thick layer of mist kind of permeating the ground from your view. But it does seem to be a clearing in an otherwise wooded area.
There's fog there, which means Pocket doesn't want to go, but we'll land back with the group, transform, and point out the things that I've seen.
Oh, there is one more thing of note, Pocket.
Uh-oh.
Back on, you see there's two lakes. There's the small one that the tower is on, and then the large lake that you remember seeing when you left Avalakai. You see a flash of lightning coming from the tree line and just zapping the hell out of the lake. Like you see this crack of lightning out of nowhere that splits through the fog for a second, kind of burning it away.
That'll put a bit more emphasis on, considering I saw a vampire go into the lake.
Mm-hmm.
So if that place to the east is the vineyard, then at least we're going in the right direction.
To the west.
Oh, sorry, yeah, to the west. To the west. The scary mansion to the south, I'm sure that though it may look abandoned, this entire land looks abandoned. So I highly doubt that it is. There's that tower, which, I mean, I'm obviously a little terrified of. And then the light from the lake, or that hit the lake, not sure what we care to do about that.
Mm-hmm. It is clearly, like it did look like a bolt of lightning shot out through the tree line.
I'll just pass that on.
Okay.
Didn't someone mention that the wizard after you went crazy would do that from time to time? I feel like we've heard this before.
We've definitely
you have.
heard there was a
Okay.
crazy wizard around.
Well, he's still around, apparently.
So what did the crow have to say?
Well, conversation between a lot of animals isn't always verbal. A lot of it is said through posture and slight muscle movements. But the gist of it was, and I'll just hold up a middle finger.
Your friends are very nuanced, Pocket.
The
Saya's
crow...
gonna-
Oh, go ahead.
Saya's gonna have Mogget use their limited telepathy and send an emotion of curiosity at the crow, because if it understands a language.
Mm-hmm. The raven looks back at you, especially after Pocket gave his little diatribe, and it you almost see the raven narrow its eyes at Pocket and almost how dare you, when Pocket was saying, oh, it's the equivalent of middle finger.
What? I'm just trying to have some fun. I'll wave once again at the raven.
I think it's safe to say this is one of Pocket's friends, and they're not out to harm us?
Something that you all notice as you've been kind of taking in this raven, you hear the sound of flapping, and you look up into the sky, and you see several small shapes circling overhead the party at this point. You get a little nervous at first until you look and you see that there seems to be several dozen ravens just circling around your position in the sky.
Maybe we're going in the right direction.
I'm surprised there's that many. We're still moving.
And they're following you as you're moving.
I wonder how many people are interested in us and are watching through these spies.
Well,
If nothing else, we
to
are
take
the biggest
information.
entertainment in town at this point.
So
You make your way through the road, kind of heading through the dark forest area. You do see a branch off at about this point on the road, where it branches off to the south. But you continue onwards north, heading kind of on the main part of the road. The branch off point seems more of like a personal drive than it does a main road. As you kind of turn around the corner, you see this tower jutting out above the tree line over here that Pocket had seen previously. Kind of see it like sway and creak in the wind. The ravens continue to follow you guys at this point. You hear some growling in kind of the trees next to where you're starting to make this turn. And you hear kind of the cracking of branches as you see a few four-legged shapes kind of like approaching from the deeper part of the woods.
Attacking you'll become dinner. Go away, dogs.
They give this low underlying grr as they start approaching. At about this point, you see several ravens from the kind of the circling cloud that's been following you dart down from the sky, and they begin starting to basically peck at the wolves in the face, basically like trying to drive them off, it seems.
And this is why we're Team Raven.
It is a very strange sight to see all of these birds basically just diving through the tree line and more or less swarming on these wolves. You kind of hear the growling. You see some of the wolves trying to snap at these ravens, but inevitably they end up just running back into the thick guarding cover of the trees. And these ravens, as quickly as they descended, fly back up to join the flock in the sky.
Well, whoever your friends are, Pocket, we owe them one anyway.
I think we owe them more than one, but we should keep going. I don't know that if the wolves don't want us over there and the ravens are defending us from what could be just regular wolves, makes me think that they're not regular wolves, so let's not.
On the bright side, if they're not regular wolves, we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, you continue onward, and now that you've seen this, your eyes kind of catch notice as periodically during your journey, you see the swarms of ravens kind of dart down into the trees, and then they fly back up and rejoin the flock. So it seems like during your journey, they've been basically driving off anything that's taken interest in your little wagon.
It's good science.
Reach out to the sky. You guys are the best!
Raz utilizes the greeting that he was just shown by Pocket and waves that up at the birds.
Sounds good.
I'm doing it right, yes, Pocket? This is what...
Your form's a little off, but your spirit's there. We got it.
Pocket?
Yes.
At this point, you feel something wet hitting your shoulder.
Oh, no. Well, I'll wipe it off, and then I'll get close to Roz and you're like, okay, no, but you got to do it like this, and then just smear what I assume is bird shit on I don't know, his back, his muscly back.
Oh no.
That's gonna get you punched, Pocket.
We're friends. What? He wouldn't punch me.
I will.
I would like a sleight of hand.
Yeah, please do a sleight of hand, Pocket.
Oh no.
Roz, yeah, perception.
Totally doesn't hear it. Yeah.
Okay, he doesn't
No.
notice.
This is why I asked for the sleight of hand, so Days could get away with this.
Yeah, you were able to do so without any provocation.
See, just like that, and then you'll be fine. But you're good.
As you make your way past this little crossroads again, you find yourself coming to another split in the road. There's a weather-worn signpost with 3 arms pointing along the 3 branches that you find yourself approaching. One branch to the north reads Kresk, and through the woods you can see kind of an arching stone bridge spanning the course of the river in front of you. You can also see further off, just peeking out of the tree line, the shape of what seems to be stone walls. To the arm pointing to the east reads Valakai, and you see the kind of the road that you had followed to get here. And the last signpost points down to the southwest, and the road itself slopes gently downward in that direction. The signpost itself pointing reads the Wizard of Wines.
Ah, good. The right direction.
Wine this way, guy.
Well, that means we also know where the other town is. So this is good.
We head south, or down the southwestern trail sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. All right. Can everyone roll?
Turning to Nanaha, what is?
He just kind of scritches in the spot and hopefully doesn't notice that she's scritching bird shit off him. She's like, you just look like you were itchy.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm allergic to Pocket or something, but where he slapped me on the back, it's kind of itchy.
Sorry, it might be the claws.
It's okay. It just means we have to shave Pocket completely.
Oh God, you guys are cruel.
You take your way down this branching part of the road where you start to see that it gets very kind of gravelly at this point, and the main portion of the road itself starts being a little overgrown at this point. After about a half a mile, the road itself becomes a muddy trail that meanders through the woods, descending gradually until the trees part. There's a mist-shrouded meadow, and the trail kind of splits off. One branch heads west into the valley, and the other leads south into what seems to be even darker tree lines and woods. A wooden signpost at the intersection points west and reads Vineyard. At the southern pointing intersection, you see a figure kind of moving up from the misty meadow. Seems at first to be the sign of a person on horseback. But as it gets closer, you see the horse is completely skeletal. There's a rusty lantern that is just kind of clattering against the skeletal steed. Atop the mount is a humanoid figure that you also see is completely bare bones and skeletal.
Are the ravens bothering this?
The ravens do not seem to be bothering it. The rider kind of like mechanically grabs the lantern from the horse's side and holds it up, but there's nothing shining out of it. They don't seem to have noticed you and just seem to be wandering. Like they wander through the road and then kind of start making their way back into the woods.
Nanaha shudders a little bit.
What was that?
Nanaha shudders a little bit. Ugh.
At this point, that's actually fairly normal.
Mm-hmm. Also, you notice that the swarms of ravens begin to kind of dissipate, and you see them all flying off in other directions.
Well, that can't be good, guys.
Or they've seen us to our location and aren't concerned anymore.
With monsters in the closet, maybe?
There's obviously monsters in the closet.
Should we make ourselves known to the Outrider? I'm not even sure what that is.
The Outrider is already in the woods. I'm going to say no. Or at least I'm not going to say hi.
That's fair. So the sign says vineyard to the, like, points to the vineyard to the west. Is there like a manor that's visible there, or is there anything like further south that we can see, or is it just like grapes?
Right now, you see kind of just grapes. Well, grapes and fog. A lot of this plain area is swallowed up in the mist right now. So it is kind of impeding your long distance view at this level.
Looking for a driveway.
Should we continue down south to see where he was coming from, or do you want to go like?
Let's do what we came here for.
Irina is just kind of like, considering it is getting close to dusk, I would prefer not to venture too far away from where we're going.
That's fair. All right, well, let's look around the vineyards then and see if we can find some people.
All right. As you head down the muddy trail to the west, you feel a light drizzle beginning to fall from the sky. You start to see unpainted fences that blindly follow the trail, which skirts north of a sprawling vineyard, before bending south towards a stately building. The fog itself takes on a ghostly form as it swirls between the neatly tended rows of grapevines. Here and there, you see rope-handled half barrels used for hauling grapes. North of the trail is a large stand of trees. You all see, kind of at the edge of this outcropping of trees, there is a man wearing a dark cloak and a cowl standing at the edge of the trees, and it seems to be waving at you.
Waves back.
Are we still in our carriage or in our wagon, or are we on foot at this point?
You're still in your wagon.
Okay.
It is starting to get harder to navigate if you're trying to come in basically like on a stealthy approach, you will have to inevitably drop the wagon off somewhere because the ground is starting to get very muddy and will be very hard to pull through the mud without getting stuck.
So seeing the figure waving us down, I grabbed the bottle out of that was given to me by Ezek, like the one that's like
Erwin.
Erwin, excuse me. Now I'm going to do that too. The bottle was given to me by Erwin. That's like from their vineyard, like to show that we're friendly. and I kind of walk over to him. Hop off the wagon and start walking over to him, like holding that up in one hand and like waving with the other.
You see the figure waving you over, and you hear kind of a harsh whisper breaking through the darkness. Hurry! Over here!
I pick up my pace a little bit.
And as you get closer, you see the figure kind of pulling her hood back. You see a human woman, probably in her late 30s, maybe early 40s. She has very like wavy black hair with streaks of white kind of going through that, peppering it. What are you doing here? These roads are not safe.
It's a long story, but we've kind of come to fix that. Is there some place inside that's a little safer that we could meet to discuss? There's 6 others with me in the wagon.
A friend, I wish we could. We are, let's just say we have our own issues right now.
Are you with the winery?
And she just kind of looks. Who sent you?
Us.
A lot of people. This. Should I grab my friends? I think it'd be easier to discuss this as a group.
Sure. Come over here. Pull your wagon over. We can find a spot away from viewing eyes to stash your horse.
All right. I like kind of frantically wave to the group, like, get everything over here.
And you inevitably all kind of come on over, pulling the horse over. And this figure kind of looks over the group. Who sent you all? No, please, I need to know.
Erwin.
She blinks a few times. Ah, my idiot brother. Good to know he's still looking out. I am Stefania Martikov. Erwin is he is my older brother.
Well, it was very nice to meet you. Your brother was very hospitable to us in Valakai.
That is good to know. Last I saw him, him and father had not parted on good words, so maybe this will help with some of the family issues. Come on. I will bring you over to the others.
Along.
What was that?
Follows along.
Kind of pulls you into a small clearing in the woods, and kind of pulls and takes your horse aside. And you see a group of other figures in the tree line. They're all wearing dark leather raincoats or cloaks and have various cowls. And Stefania kind of waves them over. One of them you see is a very old-looking man who's kind of looking at everybody with an air of suspicion, kind of giving you that all like cockeyed once-over. Father, they seem to be some friends sent by Erwin to help us. And he kind of just he scoffs a little bit and spits at the ground. Well, I'm glad to hear that old stick in the mud is not wasting the opportunities given to him. You, what are your names?
Nanaha.
Axel Sillison, sir.
Pocket.
Saya.
Oh, Mike's all the way over there. Sorry, Verity.
And Roz.
And I am Irina Kolyanovich. And the old man kind of like, yes. The Barovia burgomaster's daughter. I know of you, girl. So what has my fool boy told you of the situation here?
As far as he knows, all that's going on is that shipments aren't coming out.
Well, that is true. And he kind of just like takes a few steps forward. He's got a big old walking stick that he's kind of like using to prop himself up as he takes a few steps forward. The reason that there are no shipments is that we have been driven out of our winery.
Lean over and nudge Nanaha. Monster in the basement.
And what has driven you out?
There is a cabal of druids down to the south that call Yester Hill their home. They and an army of their foul plant creatures attacked the winery and drove us out, forcing us to abandon the winery and take refuge in the woods. And he kind of points to the crowd. You see there's a couple of kind of young adults, some folks in their 20s, some in their 30s, and then you see a group of children. There's a kind of a younger boy, maybe teenager age, two small boys, and then a baby that you see one of the kind of stronger looking men is holding right now. We are not exactly willing to suffer the loss of any of our family, and so retreat was the best option.
Absolutely understandable. Is when we were coming in, there was like a skeletal rider that looked to be searching the road. Is that one of this druid circles?
No, we have. I do not know what it is, but I have seen it periodically wandering in and out of the mists at the edge of the valley. It seems to leave you alone if you do not interfere with whatever it is they are doing.
Can I insight that, whether or not he actually knows what it is?
Yeah, go ahead. All right. 1 second.
Pocket does not trust anyone who might know about monsters.
He just kind of takes a look. Yes. Well, I have not had any bad encounters with it. I leave it well enough alone.
Very well. What can you tell us about these druids, other than that they pushed you out of the vineyard?
They are a strange sort. As of late, they've taken to attacking our shipments on the roads. Usually the hired help we have are enough to drive them out. But they seem to have taken a very particular interest in our family. And a couple of days ago, they came with large numbers, and it was really not something we could fight against. I do not know what their purpose is, nor do I know why they are targeting us. Perhaps they are trying to demoralize people because they are taking away one of the few joys that this valley has. There could be something more complicated than that. I am just a simple old fool who runs a vineyard.
That's absolutely fair. May we stay with your group here tonight? I'm sure some of us can help help the watch for the night, and in the morning we can go see, or at least our group will go see what if we can either deal with these druids or if we need to deal with these druids, as it were.
That would be appreciated. If Erwin sent you, then you can be trusted well enough, I guess. And he kind of leads you into the woods. The children and the other adults kind of are giving you guys a bit of a wide berth. You see some various like wooden lean-to structures that have been made in the tree, like made in a small clearing that they've carved out. This is where we have been camping for the time being.
Safer to be with others.
Mm-hmm. In the firelight that they've got of the small campfire, you all seem to notice that the small bit of fur that Pocket has is starting to take a bit of a blackish hue.
Pocket?
What?
She's going
You're
to
about to
point
say
at his fur.
So you broke up there.
She's going to point at your fur.
Maybe I'm having a new color come in.
Okay. If he's not concerned about it, she's not going to be concerned about it.
Verity.
Tries to buff the spot with his cloak to see if it's just something stuck to him.
No, there seems to be kind of blackish tints to the end of the bits of the fur lining his body.
Verity pipes up and says, unlikely considering that most furred animals have the color of their fur encoded in their genetic material, and it does not change from birth, but who knows?
And kind of you.
Is the color change a new thing? I know there are some rabbits that go from a brown to a white depending on the seasons. Have you normally reacted to the darkness in such a way?
I haven't normally reacted to anything much of any way, especially since coming here.
And she grabs a dagger. Would you like me to take it off?
Jesus! Stop!
You at this point you hear just a guffaw from the old man. Yes, Erwin definitely sent you. I am the patriarch of the family. You may call me Davian. I like your group already.
A move as far away from Verity as possible, while still being in the main group of people.
They kind of go through, and as you guys are putting everything together, they go through and they do kind of introductions. There's Davian, the oldest of the men. He, apart from Davian, he points off that's his son Adrian. The younger of the adults is Elvier. You've already met Stefania. And then the kind of the muscly looking guy, that's Dag Tomescu. He is married to Stefania. And then they introduce the children. There's their son, Claudio, the youngest, Martin and Vigo, and then the baby, Yolanda. Something you notice about all of them, they all have jet black hair with streaks of white peppering it.
I do want to take note that if they've been living out here, does it look like they have any weaponry of any kind, any means of defending themselves?
They don't seem to have a lot. There's a couple of crossbows, but that's about it.
Noted.
Is there anything you all would like to do before bedding down for the night?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Well, first
Lay
we
on.
need to figure out what Pocket is doing and where he's going to sleep.
Oh, jeez. Well, probably just near Axel.
Oh. Okay.
You should volunteer to at least help with the watch.
I imagine Axel is going to be doing some portion of the watch overnight. So wherever his role is, he's only going to sleep for like 4 or 5 hours.
Axel, I can join you on the watch. I can actually see in the dark.
That is a good call. Come on.
Gotcha.
I don't know how we'll take a round of the watch.
Okay. All right. You all kind of set yourself up, kind of set up your tents that you had collected. Irina has opted to use the wagon as a sleeping location for the night.
Would she even have Verity offered her tent instead?
Roll a persuasion check.
Ooh. Fuck, where is it? There it is.
She wouldn't say no.
Oh, well, she didn't mean like together. She meant she could have it and Verity will take the wagon.
Roll insight, Verity.
Everything is 15, okay? Can we just...
Verity's got a crush.
She seems a little disappointed when you offer to switch places and not offer your tent.
Regret! Masked regret, but...
She will take the offer though. All right. Who would like to do first watch? Axel and Pocket?
Yeah, it sounds good.
All right. Would you all like to roll me some perception checks? Axel, yours will be at disadvantage because dark.
Sure. No, stop wasting those.
That was a good roll. Dang, son. So, the night begins to come. The already dark woods being in almost pitch black. The only real light given off in the night is the crackling of the campfire in this small little emergency setup. It's relatively quiet for a moment. Some of the other Martikos are keeping watch as well. Pocket, you notice on kind of the outskirts of what you can see away from the light, a couple of ravens perched on the tree branches nearby.
Give a more subtle wave, but not say anything.
Mm-hmm.
So while we're out here on this watch at some point, we just, because it seems like it's pretty quiet, I turn to Pocket and say, hey, could you always do that bird trick?
No, but I'll turn to like it. Does it look like? Well, I assume people are paying attention to us because we're new. But is there anybody like close to us?
Not immediately close to you, no.
Well, I'll lean in a little bit. Erwin, actually, the night that we showed up, he told me that I guess he told all of us, or in front of all of us, that he was going to show me a way to help essentially keep tabs on things going on, and he, well, offered to let me have this gift.
You trust it?
I mean, he's probably one of 4 people in this land that is actually nice, so yeah.
Fair. Be careful. But it's been incredibly useful. Gotta work on the clothes, though.
Well, yeah, just there's no real in between. It's just I'm me or I'm a bird.
That's fair. Maybe if these druids are amenable to talking, they can give you some pointers.
Well, he did say to keep it a secret, so I'm gonna avoid using it where there are other people from now on. And I'd prefer not to bring it up too often.
Understood. I won't say anything.
But we're back at it. I've missed you, big guy. It's been a long time since you and I just, did a watch.
Yeah. It's been a long time since we've been chased out of a city, too.
Yeah. Usually my fault. But anyway, I guess, we're gonna go be heroes tomorrow.
I hope so. At the very least, get the vineyard running again.
Yeah,
that sounds good. I'll hug Axel and then we're done.
Yeah, as you guys have been having your conversation, you do see one of the people who are up as part of the watch was Davian himself, and midway during your conversation, he gives the both of you just kind of a cautious glance. That's all.
Good to me. If he doesn't do anything about it, that's fine.
It seems just basically based on his reaction, it seemed like he was eavesdropping.
Kind of expected it. Was kind of leaning into it a little bit to see how people would react.
Yeah. If the watch is uneventful, I'll just go back to the watching for however long and then tag in whoever comes in.
About an hour or so into the watch, you see several hundred yards away through the fog, there's a flickering of light bobbing up and down.
To the south?
To the south, correct.
It looks like our outrider found some oil for that lantern.
Call over one of the other people that's here. Does that normally happen?
No, that is the first. I don't know. I don't really see many people with torches. It's only been a couple days since we were driven out, but it's not something that normally happened around the vineyard.
I was really hoping you were gonna say you just sent somebody out on a border patrol or something like that. But okay, so good. There's something that makes light out in the woods.
The light seems to be stationary at this point.
And possibly watching us.
If all it's doing is watching, I think that's okay. I don't think we should be wandering out into the darkness looking for a lantern.
All right. You fulfill the end of your watch. The entire time, this light is just bobbing up and down in the fog, in the darkness. And it is still there when you tap in for the next round of watch.
I pointed out to whoever. Is it Lumi that's coming to replace us, or is it members of the camp?
Me.
Okay. I pointed out to Lumi and say just yell if it does anything aggressive, get us back. But it's just been standing there.
Okay.
If I'm no longer charmed when I'm going to bed now, I'm going to go to bed angry.
Yeah, the charm does wear off before you went to bed, or before you started your watch.
Ooh, 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 ooh. Through the darkness, the pair of silvery eyes are watching Pocket come back to his tent. And then when he goes in, I'm assuming with Axel in tow, Verity pokes her head in the tent and she goes, "Good evening, Pocket."
Are you gonna cut me?
No, but I was curious how you were feeling.
Pretty good.
You don't sound... That did not sound very convincing. I was just wondering how you might be feeling after your adventure last night in the town.
Pretty angry now that you bring it up.
Ah, good. And she just invites herself in.
Yeah, both
Hi.
both Verity and Pocket, I would like you to know that your encounter with Strahd is a little muddled in your head and kind of foggy, but you do realize that you were controlled to some extent.
Can we help you, Verity?
Oh, not at all, please. By all means.
Okay. I try to get to the other side, put Axel between him and Verity and try to go to sleep.
I mean, she just waits for him to lay down and then she just sits on top of him again.
Can I help you?
Just taking precautions. You have a tendency to run away when confronted with things you are not comfortable with.
Hey Verity, why don't we meet in the middle and Axel scoots over a bit so there's room for her to squeeze in between Pocket and Axel. He probably needs to get some sleep if he's going to be useful tomorrow, and so do I. Axel says a little grumpier.
At Pocket's little outburst of "Can I help you?" you hear a baby crying from one of the other shelters.
Suit yourself. I will be back later. And she just leaves.
Sorry.
You're good, buddy.
Well, I meant to them, but,
Yeah, there's... You see Stefania bouncing the baby outside of the little shelter, trying to shush her back to sleep.
Anna is trying to do peekaboo to try to distract the kid from being upset.
Roll performance then.
Fuck yeah.
The crying is eventually replaced with giggling and a few fussy noises, but between the two of you, you are easily able to get the baby back to sleep. Once again, Nanaha, you see that light off in the distance in the fog. Not going anywhere, just bobbing up and down in the same spot.
She sticks her tongue out at it.
No reaction. It just seems to be bobbing up and down. The light kind of filtering out through the fog. And up and down. It just bobs in place.
Alright, she's gonna look around and just keep note of where it is.
It is about a few hundred yards away from you. In the woods, or on the road itself to the south of this area. And
I'm still not going after it alone.
Yeah, it doesn't move from the spot. It just stays there.
Still there in the morning. She will investigate it then.
Okay. Can you roll me your perception check for the watch, please?
staring too hard at the orb, apparently.
Yeah. You really don't notice a whole lot going on at this point. And, you just kind of hang out for a while as the rest of the people are trying to get some sleep. And eventually your shift ends as well. Is anyone going to do a third shift?
Sounds like hopefully they've got it.
Is there somebody in the camp that's taking over for me?
I mean, at each watch point, there is somebody from the Martikovs joining you on the watch, so it's never just one person.
I'll sleep where my post was and say, kick me if something happens.
Okay. Alright. Eventually, morning does come. The light off in the distance isn't there.
But I do remember approximately where it was, so I'll probably investigate it once I wake up.
Mm-hmm. One thing that you do notice, Nanaha, that at your foot when you wake up, there is a small black wooden smoking pipe.
Do I recognize it?
No, it's just sitting on your foot.
I'll pick it up, and if I see the head of the group, I will be like, hey, this yours?
Nobody knows whose it is. None of the people there recognize it.
Gonna pocket it for later, then.
Okay, you have marked down that you have a small black pipe.
Or,
So all of you end up waking up at various points in the morning. The land overhead is still the sky overhead is still very gray and uninviting. There's a little bit of a chill as the last vestiges of the night's rainfall begin to fade. Hear kind of the creaking and groaning of the trees out in the forest. The rest of the encampment's inhabitants begin to start putting their stuff, kind of putting themselves together in the morning.
Nanaha goes over to Axel and goes, you want to inspect the glowy spot?
You were a little muffled there. What was that?
Sorry. She goes over to Axel and go, hey, do you want to go investigate where that glowy spot was?
Yeah, that'd be a good idea here. Pocket.
Yeah.
Are you coming?
Yeah.
All right.
Alright, you all make your way back to vaguely where you remember that glowing light to have been the previous night. Nothing really seems to be remaining there.
Are there any horse tracks?
Maybe, but the problem is the ground is so muddy, and with the rain last night, a lot of that has been kind of washed away. But you could roll a survival check if you'd like to try and find some. Yeah, unfortunately, the mix of the rain, even though it was light, and the previously wet ground, the tracks are just kind of like not really fully defined, and everything is just kind of all muddled.
I mean, it had to be that rider, right? Like he had a lantern. It would make sense. It was bobbing up and down a little bit.
Or
But it
the
wasn't
druids.
moving.
Maybe it's the Druids' Night Watch, or well, they said they didn't think it was affiliated with the Druids.
Considering that the druids just pushed them out and are maintaining some kind of order, wouldn't surprise me that they just haven't, either they haven't noticed, or it's the first time that they've decided to actually actively watch them.
So between the three of you talking, you do kind of come to the conclusion that the light just didn't go away. It just constantly stayed in the same spot. The only movement it made was bobbing up and down as if it were floating on something.
It was south of where we were positioned. Is it like roughly on the way down that southern road?
Yes.
Well, if there's stuff on, we're going to be going down that road to get to the Druids. I imagine if it's something that's still there, we're going to find it.
Makes sense to me.
Good enough.
Let's go grab the others and figure out what our plan is for dealing with our new friends here. Well, hopefully friends.
At this point, everybody's kind of gotten themselves together. Just a very light breakfast is offered, nothing particular. Mostly just some stale bread and a couple of bottles of wine and some cheeses.
Indeed.
A vineyard's breakfast.
Yep. A vineyard's breakfast after you had to run out screaming in the middle of the night.
I like how they still managed to grab some wine, though.
And geez.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you take what's important.
Exactly.
Very true.
So once we've broke our fast, Saya is going to approach Davian.
Davian, yes.
Would you suggest we start with the holdings in the vineyard or go straight to where they claim territory?
He kind of looks, I guess it depends on what your intent is. I'm not sure that a diplomatic approach will really be that good of a option, but I am not going to tell you what you can and cannot do. Were it me, I would probably try to take the vineyard back, because at the very least it is a building that is much safer than this situation. He kind of motions to the shanty town that they threw together.
You do have a manor of sorts in the vineyard?
Yes, we do.
Okay. That seems like a good target initially then. What all did they use? Like, if we walk into the vineyard, what are we walking into?
They all kind of start talking amongst themselves, but Davian will chime up. For the most part, they were the druids themselves. There were a handful, about 5 or 6, when they came. The problem is that they also brought various plant monstrosities with them. I do not know how many they have, but there were vines and broken piles of wood and everything that were basically marching in step with them. I do not know if they have increased their numbers inside, as we are only able to really get any sort of visual from outside the vineyard.
All right. Well, thank you very much. So how should we approach this, guys?
Irina, are you going to come with us or are you going to stay here?
She kind of shrugs. I am fine with either. I mean, I would hate to sit here and be some sort of damsel in distress, but I am going to defer to your judgments.
Verity pipes up a little bit too excitedly for her character is that normally is. She's like, I would be loath to let her out of my sight, our sight, the party sight.
Irina kind of just does like a coy laugh. I guess the decision has been made for me then.
It sounds like we could use an extra hand here. Okay.
Do we know if the druids have a camp further south? Maybe they can be bartered with?
The Davian kind of looks at you. I already told you last night, boy, that they came from Yester Hill down to the south of past the vineyard.
But is it an actual camp, or did they just travel here and are just taking up the first place that they see?
That is where that is where the circle makes their home.
I would think that there would be less druids in the house, and maybe we should figure out how we compare, so to speak, before going after the hive of bees.
Being the optimistic sort that I am, as he pulls out his rapier, this ain't too good at hacking through weeds or plant monsters, as they said, vines and whatnot. Does anyone have an axe or a sword or something that I could borrow for the time being?
This is a rather weapons-light party, I think.
I mean, she's got 2 daggers and a staff, but yeah.
Irina will kind of go through her things and pull out a short sword. This is the only other weapon I brought with me. I don't know if this would do much better.
That's DM call. They're both technically piercing weapons. But some
Yeah.
people say you can use a sword and slash with a short sword.
I would say you can slash with a short sword.
Well, thank you. But what would you be using if you're going to be coming with us?
She kind of looks down at the rapier. I guess I will have to improvise.
I'm not going to take your only weapon, lass.
It's fine. It's not my only weapon. And she points to the rapier. It will do okay.
Let's make a note of picking up some extra bladed weapons next time we get an opportunity.
No, he's absolutely not going to take her last weapon. So if she only has the short sword, she keeps it.
Well, she has a short sword and a rapier.
Oh, okay. Because he has the rapier too.
Yeah.
She can
And
stick
she
with
seems
us,
very-
Raz. So her rapier probably won't come into that much play.
All right. Thank you.
Us, she points to herself and Verity, obviously the 2 casters who stick back.
Hopefully we know some flame spells.
All right.
So are we going south to try to talk to them first before we try to raid the house or the mansion or the vineyard building?
Do you really want to poke a hive of bees?
I wonder if advancing on their first wave is a smart move, because that could be seen only as an attack, whereas at least peacefully approaching their home, maybe. I don't know.
I would argue that taking back the vineyard is self-defense, as it is not their territory.
I get where your head's at, Pocket. I'd be concerned about like walking past an enemy. If the diplomacy goes south, all of a sudden we're sandwiched between their group and their camp, and then whoever is in the vineyard possibly pinching back behind us.
So we are taking back the vineyard, and then definitely having enemies to the south.
We are
You
taking
can go up and talk to someone. I'm not going to stop you.
our immediate goal is to retrieve the vineyard. If they can be parlayed with afterwards,
No one's saying we can't try to parlay with the ones inside the house.
They can go get their leader if they actually find us amenable.
that's fair. I certainly don't. We certainly don't need to strike until we've been struck at, or it's been made clear that they're not interested in talking.
That sounds good to me.
That said, an abundance of caution would probably be beneficial. Pocket Raz on me.
If you want this to not turn into violence, I'm probably not going to be the one doing any talking.
We don't need to do any talking, but if we need to be prepared for violence, and you're certainly prepared for violence.
I think he's after a big beefy bookend to look intimidating.
But yes,
Fair enough.
our speakers, of course, will be behind us, but we just need to make sure that they're covered in case anything goes wrong. Verity, you ready for some negotiations?
I suppose we will find out. Why are you having her do the negotiations? Did you not see what happened the last time she tried to present a plan?
She did a good job.
She pissed off the twins!
I mean, that was going to piss them off regardless, like, out of character, right? But no, like, you did a good job getting us the horses boarded, and, like, you've done face for us a couple of times, and it's been good.
How about worst case scenario, we could have Saya talk to them, just make sure she doesn't sell the vineyard?
I mean, I'm also standing right here.
Irina
True.
is practiced in talking in a way that this land would recognize.
I don't know. I've never gone this far west before.
No, but you're still from here, and we're all very much not.
Yes, you have a point there as well. I do not know. I guess it depends on what their purpose is.
Okay, so we have a plan for discussion, we have a plan for violence if need be. Let's get this vineyard back.
I presume we're leaving the horse and cart
Yeah.
here.
The Martikov said that they will watch your supplies and your horse while you are gone.
I'll flank Axel and follow his lead.
So Axel has his glaive in his, like, he's not like holding it forward, but he's, kind of using it as a walking stick and just like making, clear that he is armed, and starts carefully walking down into the mist into the vineyard.
Okay. You head further down this kind of muddy road that branches off towards the vineyard. You see kind of the mist lingering in the air, kind of blocking out a lot of the defining shapes of the area. In the middle of the vineyard, when you get closer into the clearing, you see an old 2-story stone building with multiple entrances. Through the mist and fog, you make out thick ivy covering every wall, and a heavy iron fencing along the roof line. The trail ends at an open loading dock on the ground floor level. You do notice that a wooden stable seems to be a more recent set of construction based on the overall demeanor of the building and the stonework. You continue heading forward and you hear the rustling of dead vines kind of all around you. You see inhuman shapes kind of peeling up from the various grapevine areas in the vineyard. And there's kind of the cracking of tree branches as they start to trudge through the mist and the rain towards the group. At this point, they were about 120 feet away from you, and they seem to be shambling in your direction.
Axel calls out, like kind of yelling to whoever can hear. We wish to talk if you're amenable to talking. If you, if your plants stand down, I think we could resolve this like reasonable people.
As he's saying that, I want to like size up what we're up against and kind of see if they're preemptively flanking us and like trying to wrap around and can get behind us.
So what you can see from the shapes in the mist, you see 30 shapes actually at this point. They are about person-sized, and they seem to be kind of shambling towards the party with almost an unnatural gait.
Well, this will be fun.
You're not sure if the things heading towards you are sentient or if they are the druids. You can't tell at this distance.
I assume there's been no answer to Axel's call.
No.
Axel's going to try again in Elvish.
Alright, at about this point, they're 90 feet away from you as they've been shambling towards the group. You don't necessarily hear any response in Elvish either. You do hear the creaking and groaning of wood, and you see some more shapes piercing through the veil of fog and mist as another 30 feet beyond the first group, you see more smaller shapes lurching up from the ground.
Saya's going to repeat Axel's call in Primordial, and if we don't get a response to that, going to suggest we quickly get inside.
There's no response. You see the shapes continuing to shuffle towards you all.
Unless we're planning on fighting an army, I agree.
Yes, we are horribly outnumbered here.
Yep.
And that changes inside the house?
Fewer directions we can be come at from.
We can
Create
form
choke points.
Yeah,
I
form
can
some
block a
choke.
door.
Also, these are druids. Druids don't usually like houses.
I'm not convinced that these are druids. All right.
If they are,
So at this point, there are about a good 75 plus shapes heading in the direction of the party. There's no like attempt of flanking or any sort of tactics. They are just making a straight shot line towards where you currently have been standing.
All right. So you said there was fencing along the roof of the house. Is the house itself like, are there walls, or can we just like walk up to the door?
There are walls, but no, they're not blocking off. You could get to the door. Yes.
Okay.
You would have to basically kind of. The best way to describe this is imagine kind of like a zombie horde situation.
Oh, they're between us and the house?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. So, this might be a fighting retreat, guys. Are they still shrouded in mist, or are we getting a clearer view of what we're looking at here?
You are getting a clearer view. Just to not bog down everything, I'm not going to throw that many tokens up on Roll20. but I would like us to go ahead and roll for initiative, please.
Are we going
I will have to add. I can.
Yeah.
1 second. I can add tokens for you guys to click on. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to move you to the next map, and we will just continue to Theater of the Mind. Let me know if you can see.
Yep.
Yes.
Slow-mo.
It's just the fear.
It had axles for a second and then deleted it? So weird.
Hey, well, he rolled a nat 20.
Okay, let's see about Irina.
Ow. I always forget this headset has like extra space, and so I never clear it.
All right, 1 second while I get everything set up here. Okay. At this point, the shambling swarm of plant matter is lurching towards the party. Roz, you are first.
And we are not as close to the house-like thing as we are on the map. There is a horde of things between us and the house, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Then he will pull out his shield and I'll start with the rapier. Maybe it's not as resistant to damage as I expect. And just kind of look at the others and be like, so what's the plan? And for his action, he'll dodge, go defensive.
Okay.
At the front of the party, so he's the first person they hit.
Okay. Sounds good. Nanaha.
I'm guessing the plan is to blast them out of the way, and I'm just gonna sun fist them.
Your range on that is 30 feet, and they are currently about 60 feet away at this point.
I can run 40 feet.
Okay, so you run towards them.
Yep.
Oh
Okay.
boy.
Sounds good. All
I'm in
right.
the house.
Yeah. Okay, you let forth these blasts of radiant energy from your fist, and like it just cracks against the bark of this plant-like thing that's starting to they all seem to be like, when they get at this point, the first round seemed to be facing you all directly at this point. Like they were shambling towards your direction, but when they got into about 60 feet, they literally turned to face you all. Roll your damage. You just blast chunks of wood and bark away. With your two blasts of damaging light, you see just the tree-like carapace blister and bleach, and it falls into a pile of just broken plant matter. Okay. Axel.
Alright. So Axel will... So Axel can only really move 30 feet. So Axel is going to close the gap to Nanaha, so like Nanaha's 10 feet in front of him.
Okay.
He's also going to take the dodge action, and he's just waiting for them to get closer, because that's all he can do. But it sounds like we're in, so he's in.
Okay. Okay.
This seems like a really bad time for all of our casters to be going after everything else.
Okay. What is Nanaha, what is your AC, please?
17.
Okay. And all right. So the plant shapes begin kind of shuffling their way closer. They're about a good 30 feet away now, 20 feet away from Nanaha. And you just see this massive swarm of like broken tree branches and piles of like pine needles. And off in the distance you see even more like small twig shaped piles beginning to emerge from kind of the detritus of the vineyard and start making their way, following with their strange brethren towards you all. The ones that are up front, they all take a look at the party, and you almost kind of like an arrow barrage. You just see like this volley of like almost wooden javelins just launching out of these tree bark creatures at the front. And all right, 3 of them will hit Nanaha. 2 of them will hit Axel, and 1 will hit Roz. The rest of them are just peppering the area, either blistering apart on Axel's armor or Roz's shield.
I'm 40 feet behind them. They threw them that far?
Yeah. That's not like they're
wow.
throwing. It's not like they're throwing them. It's kind of like they're launching them out of their bodies.
That's fine. I'm just impressed at the range.
Yeah. Thankfully, the dodge action helped as the majority, and your high ICs, as the majority of them missed attacking Roz and Axel. So you see these like sharp, just pointy bits of wood peppering the area. Nanaha, you are going to take a damages. Okay, that's 4 points of piercing damage. An additional 7 points of piercing damage, total of 11 so far. And another 7 for a total of 18 points of piercing damage. If you would like, I do think you have deflect arrows, right?
Yeah, I do. I didn't know they counted.
They count. You could use that to reduce the damage on one of the attacks.
Take the first one because I clicked it twice on it.
That's fine. So you will reduce one of that, so we'll say a total of 11 points of piercing damage. If you want to spend a key point, you can throw it back. Otherwise, you just catch it and mitigate the damage.
I'll just catch and mitigate the damage. So 11 points of damage total on.
Mm-hmm. Roz, you take 10 points of piercing damage from the volley of wooden spikes. And Axel, you take 7 points of piercing damage. At this point, you see behind them even more twig things just shuffling towards you. The next round of them is about, I'd say, 60 to 80 feet away, kind of closing the distance between them and their friends.
So there's about how many now that we're aware of?
About 100. The ones that are off in the distance look like they're, like, shambling towards you in a vague direction. The ones that got in 60 feet of basically the closest ones started, like, literally honing themselves on your locations. All right, Irina is gonna go. Friends, I really don't think we have this. We should get out of here. They are going to take us over quickly. And she is going to bolt the hell out of there. She's going to use cunning action to dash, basically juking around them, and then she will use her move action to move another 30 feet. And then she will use her action to move another 30 feet. So she just, like, full-on sprints and, like, jukes around this group. And you see them all, like, all of the ones, the barkish wooden ones, start to, like, turn and face her and, like, kind of follow her movement until she gets far enough away from them. And then they immediately start rotating back to look at you guys.
Wait, so she ran towards them?
No, she basically ran.
I'm very confused. This mind's eye is not working for me.
Is sure.
I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Like, part of the problem is just the distance between us and the house isn't clear, and so, like, it doesn't seem like everybody's on the same page as to how far away the house actually is.
I get it. 1 second.
I thought we were like over 100 feet from the house. Like we were a good distance away.
Yeah.
I thought we turned.
They encroached. We talked. It didn't work. They got close enough to attack us, and they can attack from a fairly large distance. And if we're still trying to get into the house, we have to survive this onslaught and then somehow get through whatever melee they can do to then get in the house.
I was thinking we were close enough to run into the house, and so I was thinking blast a hole, run through, not, oh god, there's legions.
Oh.
Sorry.
No, see, I thought we turned and looked down the driveway and said, yep, there's the house way over there. And then out from the woods comes a whole bunch of these twig things between us and the house. So when we said run away, I assumed it would be off the map, not through them all.
A little clearer. What's on the other side of the plank? Oh, water.
Okay, hopefully this is a little clearer. The map isn't the most accurate because water, but fuck it, it's what I have. The arrow is the direction of the house.
And which way did Irina go?
So she went...
Oh, okay. So they're not actually blocking our way to the house. It's just they're coming from one side. The house is toward another. So we've got to run past them to get to the house.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That makes way more sense.
Sorry, that was my bad.
No, you're good.
And so Axel and Nanaha basically ran hard to the right to get closer to them, because they went 30 feet to 40 feet ahead of the rest of the group already. But I didn't understand where they had moved to.
Yeah.
I thought I was getting closer to the house.
Right?
All right, at least we know where we're going now, so
Mm-hmm.
we can sort that out.
Oh, okay, so they didn't actually get very far ahead of me. They're just like 10 feet away. I thought they were...
Yeah.
Since Nanaha said she moves 40, I assumed she moved 40.
Well,
And...
so Nanaha would have had to move at least 20 or 30 feet in order to hit because of her range of 30. So she is like 20 to 30 feet ahead of you.
Yeah. So I will adjust that accordingly here. Because she basically ran forward to be in range, and then Axel was 10 feet behind.
So we're like over there kind of thing?
Yeah. And something to note, they are coming from... You see ones coming from the other side of... Like, basically, if you're running towards this area here, you have some coming from the left side of that map, off screen right now.
So we already have the gap. We just have to make it.
Yes.
I think it was Saya's turn.
Yes.
Okay, it just hadn't been said that it was moving to my turn because we were trying to figure out where everybody was.
Yeah, sorry about that. That is always the hardest part of this module, is this, like, tactical map, sort of, like, grand battle situation.
Okay, this is not my favorite plan of action, but I am going to take the dash action running after Irina.
Okay.
So that's 60 feet, and then I will Misty Step. Well, I guess actually, can I see, like, how dense is everything? Because...
So you see, like, there are some sparse trees and the, like, grapes and stuff themselves. But you can see at least 30 feet beyond where you end up.
Can I see where Irina ended up? Because she should be about 30 feet ahead of me.
Yes.
Alright, I'm going to Misty Step next to her, because
Okay.
I don't want her separated on her own.
Sure. Some of them do seem to be, like, the ones that were further back from the group seem to be moving towards her direction now.
I
So does that
hate
put
this.
Saya off the map?
That would be 90, so... Yeah.
Okay, so for the sake of this fight, Saya has retreated.
So I do have 120 foot range on Eldritch Blast, just because it is.
That's
but
fair.
yeah, basically, I'm currently off the map for you guys.
Yep. Okay, Pocket.
Well, I can follow the rogue after my own heart, and just yell to Axel, hope you can catch up! And I'm gonna run 40 feet, action, dash 40 feet, cunning, action, dash 40 feet, and use feline agility to get another 40 feet.
No, that's not how it works. Feline agility doubles your movement speed, so you just moved 80
well, then
feet,
yeah.
80 feet, 80 feet.
Holy shit, then yeah, we're gonna do that.
Basically, at this point, you are, like, 30 feet away from the front door of the winery.
No, Pocket's
Burst
in the
through.
house, like, pouring a glass of wine, you know.
Cartoon
feet
style,
up.
like,
Yeah.
broken through the door, perfect outline.
Mm-hmm. There's a cloud of smoke cloud of smoke in the shape of Pocket. But yeah, you are one movement away from, like, less than one move action for you in front of the door.
But that was everything I could do. Next.
Verdi.
Verity was going to cast Sanctuary on herself for a bonus action and then run, but it specifically says it doesn't protect from area effect attacks, so she's just going to do exactly what Saya did and follow after.
Okay,
Arena.
so just for clarity, the reason why it looked like an area of effect was because there were so many. They are individual attacks, so Sanctuary would work.
Well, we'll use a bonus action to cast that on herself, and then she can't move very fast. She's limited to the base 60 feet, unfortunately, but she will follow as the two before her, well, three before her, not counting Pocket, but yeah.
Hey, it cost me one of my 2 spell slots to keep up with Irina, so...
All right. So you're going to cast Sanctuary on yourself and move your 60 feet?
Yep, you dash, yep.
Okay. Do you want to move or should I move you?
You go ahead and move me. You've got a better idea of the scale of, like, the things.
Roz.
Seeing that we're now in duck and weave mode and half the group just zoomed off the way, Roz will turn to Axel shouting, make sure you don't get stuck back here, as he mirrors what Saya did, and bonus action Shadow Jaunt to teleport 30 feet up to the top of the hill and closer to the way we're going. Move action, dash action. And goes 90 feet himself to keep up with the two girls that are running.
All right, you are off the map now as well. Nanaha.
Would Step of the Wind be a key point if I'm not attacking anything?
Yes.
Move, dash, Step of the Wind.
Okay. So you burn a key point, and you also Neum the heck out of there. Okay, so yeah, you run 120 feet, and you are off the map as well. Axel.
All right, so Axel is going to dash, which gets it's like 50 feet to get here, and then I'm going to cast Sanctuary on myself, and turn to Verity and say, "Go! I've got you covered."
Okay. Sounds good. All the Sanctuary.
One's holy, one's just evil black shit.
Did the math at running essentially 80 feet per action. I'm Usain Bolt.
I say, didn't we figure that was like 27 miles per hour or something that you're running when you're
20
going?
Yeah, with feline agility, yeah, that's 27 miles an hour.
Neum. Okay. So many of these things try to, like, they turn to face Axel and Verity. And then, like, they stop and pause. As right now, there's really no one else in their range. And they try to aim at Axel, and they also just kind of wander. A couple of them are going to try to shoot at Irina, the ones closer near the back. But she is going to use her reaction to parry. And she kind of like pulls out her rapier and like knocks a few of them out of the sky. She is going to take 10 points of piercing damage as one like hits her right in the shoulder. And the rest of them are going to start shuffling their movement towards the kind of the breach you guys made. And the rest of them are just going to launch these needles and go nowhere. You see some other shapes in the fog starting to kind of like shuffle towards you guys. These are much smaller in shape, but they are a little bit of a ways away. Saya, we're going to go to your turn now.
Okay. Wait, so Irina didn't move?
It's... Oh, it's her turn. Sorry, I somehow skipped her. So she's going to use her movement again to triple run and get up to the front door.
Okay. Well, I only have 60 feet of movement without burning my last spell slot, so we're just gonna run the 60.
Yeah. Wait, no, she would still be like 60 feet away from the door. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Do your things.
I'm still just running the 60.
Okay. Pocket.
Considering how far ahead of everyone I am and that I'm a decent distance from the house still, can I just action perception check the house? Like, is there anything that would be of danger to the party this far up?
You could take an action to do that. I will let you, you're basically like 20 feet and a little bit of change away from the door. There doesn't seem to be any sort of obvious traps waiting. You do see that everyone's kind of movement in between this gap has started to draw some attention from some more of these plant things that are shuffling towards the front door. It's going to take them a little ways, but you probably could, if you can get the door open and, everyone could get inside, you could barricade it against them coming in.
Well, if there's no danger, I will run up to the door. If it's a free action, just to open the door, and start just waving people in.
All right, yep, you can do that. Verity, it's your go.
Go, gadget base 60-foot move speed.
All right. You're trucking your way along. It'll be another couple of double dashes until you can get there, but you're making progress. Roz.
Continuing to stay up with Saya and doing his best to maybe lag 5 feet behind, so that if the Twiggies turn and try to shoot at the forward half of the group, he's the target.
Okay. Nanaha.
80 feet running.
Okay. So that's another 80 feet. You are getting closer. It's probably going to be another 2 rounds to get there. Axel.
30 feet movement and 30 feet of dash, and just sticking to Verity to be the obvious target next to her.
Okay. So what I'm going
that's
to
right, meat.
What I'm going to do now is we're going to switch from initiative order, and I will basically, just to avoid pointless rounds of I run. So we're going to switch things up, and we're going to get Irina will be the next one in based on that, and then probably Nanaha. And then we'll say Verity and Saya, with Axel and Roz kind of lingering at the end of the group. Pocket is kind of funneling everyone into a main... Actually, no, this isn't the one I wanted. Sorry, I put you in the wrong entrance.
Did you
How
send
dare
us
I?
in through the servants' quarters?
Yes, I did. I'm sorry. You all are much better than servants.
How dare!
What was that?
You should have thought of that before you became peasants. It's not my fault you need. What was that again? Oh, yes. Food.
Actually, nope. This one works. Never mind.
This is why Bulwark is superior.
All right, Roz. You see these needles start launching towards you. Thankfully, you have the defensive nature enough to dodge out of the way, and they don't really seem to penetrate your defenses. Axel, the sanctuary and your armor of a combination, very few needles are launched your direction. And at this point, you see a lot of this horde start to diverge towards the manor. And the rest of you are kind of all funneling your way in. Is there any last retort you want to do before you make your way inside?
No, the plants can get stuffed. I'm
Okay.
As far as Raz is concerned, we can stick Saya in that little circular area there, and she can just go Gatling gun for the next 30 minutes, just blasting the crap out of them through a hole in the wall.
All right, you guys make your way, kind of running into this area, slamming the large, heavy wooden door behind you. Raz and Axel, the last ones in, you see just this horde of vines and branches and twigs just shuffling, ambling towards the party, towards the manor. The numbers being easily over 100 of these things, just kind of meandering about. You slam the door to this area, and you kind of look through a dirty window to the south wall, and kind of vaguely see the shapes of these things shuffling towards the house. Strewn about the floor is a bunch of wooden racks of glass bottles. There seems to be some sort of furnace that's currently off, and a variety of metal supplies and tools everywhere. Seems that this is some sort of glass blower shop. The front door is relatively heavy, but you're not sure how much it will hold if all of these things kind of throw themselves at it.
well.
Push the table?
I say, is there a lock on the door?
There is a lock on the door, yes.
Okay. Well, Axel quickly locks it, and then to the group, just board up the doors and windows. Move these racks. And
Okay.
Axel starts lifting one of the racks off the floor and wedging it into the door.
All right. Those who are trying to move things to barricade the door, make me athletics checks. The rest of you, are you trying? Is there anything else anyone wants to do other than just put heavy shit in front of the doors?
Pockets in full panic mode and just following orders.
Okay.
Are there any cracks anywhere that I could maybe fire an Eldritch Blast through here and there?
Nothing open air. There's the glass and the dirty glass in front of you is really the only viewing port you have. And at this time you start hearing thudding as some of these things are throwing themselves against the door. The racks of wine bottles kind of shaking.
I think we should find the ringleaders as quickly as possible.
Okay. Anyone who wants to try and direct how the barricade is set up, do you want to roll me just a base intelligence check? I will say either someone can roll it, or you can all people can roll it individually, or you could try to help someone. Whoever has the best roll.
Got the highest intelligence.
Well, that's
Raz has a 15.
12.
12.
13.
I'm a rockin' 11.
Hey, Roz, you want to
The
do
barbarian is the smartest person here.
You allocated the points.
It's
Hey,
true.
I'm book smart, not wise.
this? I dodge.
All right then, Roz, roll intelligence with advantage.
Some smarty pants.
Well, his
And
blood's
dice.
his blood's boiling. He's a barbarian. He's
In the heat of the moment, you have just a bunch of these things boarded up against the wall. Probably bought you some time. So You all have a moment to just breathe and kind of like.
We should get away from the door. They seem to lose interest in us if we got too far away, or at least they were less able to detect us directly.
I'm thinking an interior room at least.
Yes. Is the only way out of this room these stairs that go down?
There are stairs that go down. There's a door to the north of where Axel is currently standing, and then the front door that you came in through.
Well, I guess let's go to the door to the north, because Axel can open it.
You don't want to go downstairs.
Monster's probably in the basement.
Let's see if we can find a central room first before we get trapped in a basement with zombies.
Seen too many horror movies.
All right. The door into the main area is locked.
Pocket.
Oh, jeez. All right. And yeah, I'll try to lockpick the door.
Okay, go ahead.
That's just my thieves' tools.
Thieves' tools, yep. You hurriedly start rummaging into the padlock that's keeping the door closed, and you feel the tumblers giving underneath. And in a few seconds of just sheer determination, you hear them pop, and you feel the lock give.
And throw the door open and run in. I'm panicked.
Okay. Okay, so the door is now opened. As you all run into this room, you start hearing the banging outside begin to start slowing down and eventually diminish.
Well, what an exciting start to our day.
Caffeine when we've got death.
I hate this place. I hate this place.
Nothing like a brisk morning jog to get the heart pumping, right?
Okay, so we need to find whatever's summoning those things.
Moment before we proceed any further, and she looks over and she sees the big ass thorn sticking out of Arena's shoulder. And Nanaha's got some new orifices she shouldn't have.
She has like a little prickly mustache.
Yeah.
Who's hurt?
I've seen better days, but I'm not on death's door.
Everybody's like, all right, come here, you two.
Okay.
Oh, whoa! I lose my vision if I go inside this circle. What is this?
Those are
Wine
big
vats.
vats. Wine vats.
Don't go on the wine vats. Got it. Okay, so we'll spend a sorcery point and a spell slot, and she'll just put one hand on Irina's shoulder and put her other hand on, I guess it's Nanaha's lip that has the mustache, you said?
Apparently.
Okay, weird, and then we'll just do a twin spell cure wounds.
Okay, roll it.
One for Irina.
Nice.
One for Nanaha. Oh, sorry, Nanaha.
Wow, we know who she cares about.
Yep.
I will use 7 points of lay on hands on myself, and then turn to Raz and say, Raz, you okay?
Raz just kind of shrugs. I mean, he's got a bunch of thorns sticking out of his back, but he doesn't seem too bothered.
All right. You kind of all have a few moments to breathe, and you find yourself in this large room, wine barrels everywhere. The rich smell of fermenting wine fills a large 2-story chamber, which is dominated by these 4 enormous wooden casks, each one about 8 feet wide and over 12 feet tall. There's a wooden staircase in the center of the room that climbs up to a balcony that's overlooking this room. Stacked against the wall underneath the balcony, you see several barrels with Wizards of Wines burned into their side with a brand. The balcony itself climbs another 5 feet as it continues along the western walls. Basically, the balcony itself is doing a big U-shaped border to this room on the floor above. And beneath the sloping roof that you see kind of up above, there are several groups of ravens that are perched on the rafters, and they seem to be watching you all with great interest. At this point, the balcony creaks, drawing your eyes to a wild-looking figure hunched over the westernmost cask by where Nanaha is standing. She is on the balcony up above and kind of leaning over. You see she's wearing a gown made of animal skins, and the headdress adorning her hair is constructed out of goat horns, and her long hair is very unruly and unkempt, and there are branches and twigs sticking out of it in matted nests. She seems to have been leaning over the balcony, kind of when she sees the group kind of emerging. And at this point, you hear the sound of something skittering on the stone floor. And that is where we are going to end tonight's session.